What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another show. So at the end of No Way Home, Spider-Man was finally given the absolute best gift that the MCU could offer: a total reset. Doctor Strange's spell wiped out Peter Parker from everyone's memory. No Stark Tech, no Avengers holding his hand, no Aunt May, no MJ, no Ned, no, what was his name? Happy Hogan? No Happy Hogan. He was left completely alone in a dumpy New York apartment with a sewing machine, ready to finally become the grounded neighborhood level Spider-Man fans had been begging to see for a decade. So what did Kevin Feige do with that blank slate in Spider-Man Brand New Day? Well, he immediately stuffed it full of corporate MCU clutter. He jammed Sadie Sink in, Mark Ruffalo's Hulk in, Yelena, the Punisher, a neutered version of the Hand, and so much more. And instead of giving us a focused, grounded, street-level Spider-Man story, Feige used Spidey's bulletproof box office to hijack the film into an advertisement for future MCU phases. And today we're going to be reviewing Brand New Day and breaking down why its screenplay is a convoluted mess, and how Tom Holland's best performance was sidelined, and why the movie fails to live up to its potential. Let's get into the facts. But before we do, like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Now let's jump into it. So on paper, the emotional setup for Brand New Day is actually handled quite well, I think. You know, we start with Peter having spent the last few years treating Spider-Man as a full-time job. He lives as an absolute loner, sitting in his rundown apartment watching YouTube videos posted by MJ and Ned. He stalks them from the shadows, desperately missing them, wanting to be his friends, but keeping his distance to keep them safe. I get it, that's a Spider-Man thing to do. He's even developed an odd pseudo-Commissioner Gordon dynamic with a local police chief, kind of piggybacking off of Spider-Man PS4, Spider-Man PS5, all these new Spider-Man games. We see that in those games, Spider-Man kind of has a relationship with the police, or some type of police representative, whatever. But the narrative cracks show up instantly. He doesn't work for the Daily Bugle, and there's zero explanation of how he pays for his rent, and the script completely glosses over this point and much more needed information for crucial backstories in this movie. For example, we learned Spidey previously saved the Punisher during an off-screen event on Staten Island, and instead of spending runtime to show us that, or to build up that incredibly gritty dynamic between Spidey and Frank on screen, the movie rushes past it so it can start dumping in MCU camos onto the pile, which is a complete miss. So let's get into some of those cameos. So first off, we have Yelena. Yelena randomly shows up because Marvel is still desperately trying to make her the definitive new Black Widow, taking up screen time that's not needed, taking up screen time that belongs to Peter, and she tells Peter that he's supposed to handle little potato stuff while she's focused on handling big potato stuff. But if you guys have been watching a lot of the MCU movies, Peter handles way bigger stuff, intergalactic stuff, that Yelena completely couldn't handle on her own. I mean, we all saw the new Avengers movies, right? She couldn't lift up a brick without help. So let that sink in. Anyways, we also get Mark Ruffalo's Hulk. He returns as Bruce Banner, wearing a glitchy inhibitor device that predictably breaks in the second act so that Hulk could rage out for a set piece. Now listen to me here, guys. I have no problem with the Hulk being in this movie, but again, the more cameos we get, the more convoluted, the more messy the movie is. And we also get Sadie Sink and the Hand. Sadie Sink's mysterious character ends up being who we all think it is, and she ends up stealing so much focus in the second half that Peter starts to feel like a side character in his own movie, a flaw painfully reminiscent of the Multiverse of Madness. So when you combine that with converting the Hand into glorified military goons for damage control, and the plot becomes an overstuffed, chaotic mess. That's pretty much what we got. And to bring it kind of all home, Peter is also going through a bizarre physical mutation where his spider hormones are altering his powers. So he's trying to balance body horror mutations with grief, five-star guest, and secret agency politics in a nearly 2.5 hour runtime that kind of leaves the film completely fragmented. And his hormones are only mutating because he's stressed because he saw MJ kiss another dude. You know, he's stressing out. So he starts freaking out, etc. But that's probably going to be the only spoiler for this movie. So what makes Brand New Day so frustrating is that the pieces for a masterpiece were sitting right on the table. Fans wanted a tight, grounded, street-level New York thriller, to be quite honest. Now imagine a movie where Peter Parker, Frank Castle, and Daredevil team up to dismantle a crime syndicate in Hell's Kitchen. That's it. That's all the movie needed to be. But instead, we got two deeply flawed movies crammed into one. The screenplay feels like a rewritten 5 times during production, something that just happens just to align with Feige's grander plans for Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. Now, compared to the gold standard of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1 and 2, Brand New Day falls victim to the exact same corporate trap as Spider-Man 3, just trying to juggle way too many villains, side plots, and studio mandates at the exact same time. Now, despite being bloated, does the movie still manage to deliver as a popcorn flick? And I would say definitely yes. On a technical level, the directing, the action, the choreography, and the dark New York atmosphere are some of the best visuals we've seen in the MCU for years. Now, I wouldn't say that this movie is some type of action-packed thriller. No, it has some action in it, but it's more emotional than anything, in my opinion. Tom Holland easily gives the best emotionally mature performance as Peter Parker to date. And when the movie actually stops setting up future spin-offs and lets Peter sit in his loneliness, it hits genuine comic book authenticity, in my opinion. Now, for sure, it's better than maybe some of the Andrew Garfield era movies, definitely, but it pales in comparisons to No Way Home or the original Tobey Maguire run. It's a mid, if I have to be honest, 6 out of 10. It's a 6 out of 10. That's what it is. It's a Spider-Man flick that succumbs to the exact connected universe nonsense we hoped that it would avoid. Now, Spider-Man Brand New Day had the ultimate clean slate, but corporate mandates dragged it right back into the MCU machine. It's an enjoyable ride, but a massive missed opportunity for what could have been a legendary street level story. But I want to hear from you guys. Did you watch the movie? Did you enjoy it? Did the constant MCU cameos ruin the grounded reset for you? Or were you just happy to see a Spider-Man movie and John Bernthal's Punisher back on the screen? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.